listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Frederick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Proof Text. I am Michael Halcomb. I'm here with the Sensei himself, J. M. Smith, the leader of the Disciple Dojo, and you go check his stuff out. JM, how's it?
How's it, brother?
That's good.
Yeah, good here.
Doing well. As we're recording outside, I got 20, 30, 40 mile an hour winds going on around me because we have a tropical storm rolling through just south of the island. So yeah, it's popping off outside right now.
It was doing the same thing here earlier. I don't think it's the same storm. I think we're a little too far away from you guys for it to be the same. But yeah, it was pretty wild here today too. So
yeah,
when the spirit blows where it will.
Yeah. I don't know if the storms are communicating. I did hear this interesting fact some time ago. It still blows my mind, dude. Did you know that whales can communicate with each other from a distance of about 10,000 miles away from each other?
Now, I had heard it was a huge distance, but I did not. Yeah. I've never heard that big a distance. So if that's true, that's unbelievable. That's wild.
I mean, we can do it through phone and internet, but
right.
I mean,
they're just using their skulls and water.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty amazing. So like a whale out here could be somehow communicating with a whale out in the Atlantic. So
they're just chatting back and forth.
Yeah, maybe they're complaining about whose storm is worse. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, we've already had. We're still really, I guess, early into the hurricane season, but that's two storms that have come pretty close to the islands here, and
well, I hope the yurt is okay and undamaged.
Yeah, I hope so too. We did have a branch fall off our backyard tree last night, so it's laying down on our lanai, which is the Hawaiian term for porch.
Okay.
So, yeah, it only fell a few feet from the yurt. So,
do you guys have coconuts? Coconut trees.
Course.
Yeah.
I
heard since you threw out a whale fact, I'll throw out a coconut fact. I heard coconuts kill like 200 people a year. Falling coconuts. I don't know if that's true at all, but watch out if you got some in your yard.
Interesting. Yeah, we don't have them in our yard. I mean, we have them around, but we do have a mango tree.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a big old mango tree. Well, this is 10 questions, and we look at a verse of scripture in each episode, and we just each get 5 questions, 10 total, and we interrogate the verse. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to make our way back to the Old Testament today, and JM doesn't know what's coming his way. If you're watching, you'll be able to see it on the screen. If you're just listening, that's fine too. We'll read out loud. It is Deuteronomy 31:6, and probably most of y'all know this one. It goes like this: Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Yeah, well, this is a good one, man. So I think I took the lead on the last one. There's some good stuff here. What, you want to take the lead on this one? You got question number 1?
Absolutely. I'll go with this one. Question number 1. First question. Who is this addressing? Who is this? A personal verse for me in my life? Or is this have a historical setting that I need to take into account?
Yes, great question. So who's he telling to be strong, courageous, not be afraid? Great. I'm curious then, if it's, you're asking, is it for ancient people, for us? Like, it says, do not be afraid or terrified because of them. I mean, if we personalize it, we can make the them about anyone or anything we wanted to, right? So, but
Right.
in this verse, who's the them referring to? Don't be afraid or terrified because of them. Who's them?
Yeah.
That often seems to get somehow scrubbed from the verse, or whitewashed a little bit. I think that them, just you get that, be strong, courageous, not be afraid, for the Lord your God goes with you. Right,
Hmm.
that kind of because of them often gets hopped over.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Or like you said, just generically applied, like to somebody that's mean to us on Twitter, or like, so, like somebody says something we don't like, and they're the them in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
We're always the good guys in our, like, we're never the
Right.
them, which is
That's right.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is the psychology of how we do that, for sure.
Yeah.
And just when we're watching movies, right, that we like connect more intuitively with the good guys, right?
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
um, let's see. Me, second question. My second question, and I have you as a Greek nerd. I'm more of a Hebrew nerd, so I can ask you because I always look at the Septuagint. The Septuagint says, "Be manly and strong," or I'll pronounce it wrong, so you can do it for me. But the two, it uses the word andrizu
Yes.
and iskue. So I would want to know, what does the Hebrew hisku, what does that mean? Strength, manly, bodybuilder, warrior? And if so, how would this apply to either men who aren't manly or strong, or how would it apply to women or children?
Mm, very good. Yes. Very, very, very good. Very insightful.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Well, my next question, this he will never leave you nor forsake you. That seems like it is used elsewhere in scripture. And so my second question is the is this verse used elsewhere? And if so, how is it similar to, different from, or even related to, or not, this passage? He will never leave you nor forsake you. What are the intertextual connections, in other words?
Hmm. You talk like in like New Testament passages where they use that imagery
Yeah,
or
yeah.
that concept. Yeah. Well, I would want to ask theologically, how do we hold this? How is this verse true in light of the fact that God did leave and forsake Israel during the captivity, send them into exile, and literally said, like through Jeremiah, I've divorced you. And, even the previous generation that died in the desert. Um, so that's what I want to know. How do we balance that with the reality, the historical reality of, at least for periods of time, the psalmist cried out and Lamentations lamented that God seemed to have left and forsaken them. My God,
Hmm.
why have you forsaken me? Kind of thing. How
Yes.
do we juggle all of these verses?
That's brilliant, actually. Brilliant insight. Um, I guess I'll ride on the coattails of that question with, I think it's my third one. Um, is there, although these seem like imperatives, um, and just the end seems like a declarative statement. The Lord goes with you. He'll never leave you or forsake you. Is there actually something contingent baked into this? Like, must we do something? Like, does being strong and courageous and not being afraid or terrified, if we do those things, is that then what results in the Lord going with us and not forsaking us? If we don't do those things, then will the Lord not go with us and forsake us? So, like, is part B of the sentence contingent on doing part A of the sentence? That's my question. Or contingent on something else.
Yeah. I would want to know, like, this is my fourth or fifth?
Fourth
question.
I think.
I'm just assuming you're keeping track, but oh well. Yeah. I'm getting engrossed in the text. No, I would want to know why the next verse, 31:7, basically repeats this, but unpacks it a little bit. So in 31:6, somebody just says, be strong and courageous. 31:7, then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all of Israel, be strong and courageous. So was God telling Moses and then Moses telling Joshua, or was God telling Moses to tell Joshua? What's going on? I know in scripture, when things repeat, it's important. And so I would want to know what the significance of that seeming repetition is, or if there's any.
Yeah, very good. So in our verse here, we have for the Lord your God goes with you. Is this, does this have in mind a specific, like, a final destination, or is it just like goes with you in general everywhere and anywhere? Goes with you where? Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we both got one question left.
Mine, I think I would want to ask, picking up on that. So in Hebrew, that hu hahalek, literally, Yahweh Elohim, Lord your God, he going with you. It's a participle. So he, the one going with you, and in English smooths it out to turns it into just more of a generic, he goes with you. But is it that, like, kind of like what you're asking, like God going with them in this situation because they're, going into the land? So is this military imagery, or is this generic, as you go through life in general kind of promise? I would want to know what sense is God going?
What's interesting too, this is my last question. In the Greek of the Septuagint, we have, so in the English we have do not be afraid or terrified. So we have these, like, one negative, one not. Really, there's an implied second negative. Do not be afraid, do not be terrified. But if you look in the Greek, there's three negatives. Me fovu, me de delia, me de petothes. So we have three negatives in the Greek. Me de, me de. So what's happening here? This one's do not fear. So neither fear, nor be timid, nor frightened. So why from before his face? Why are there three negatives here? Do we have that conveyed in the Hebrew as well? And what's going on? Why are there 3 negatives? Why is one lost in the English translation?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question. I would never notice that.
Yeah. So pretty fascinating. Well, y'all, this is the stuff of good biblical study, and we hope that we're modeling that for you. Good creative study as well. Always making these observations, asking questions before doing any kind of interpretation. There's a lot of work before we get to any sort of interpreting, right? So, yeah, take this, adapt it into your own, integrate it into your own study, make observations, ask questions. And best of all, if you can find people to do that with, even better. Right? It's like we're doing it here together. If you can do that, even better. So, yeah, JM, thanks for the insights. Thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure.
To everybody out there listening, watching, head over to Disciple Dojo and JM's other various ministries, his YouTube page, his Grown Up Stable Facebook page, and check those out. Go to glossahouse.com, like the video, share it, subscribe, whatever you're comfortable doing. We hope this is beneficial to you, and until next time, we hope that helps.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.